Pacino, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. That is a star-studded cast. The idea of bringing Tom Cruise and DiCaprio on screen together, I think that is amazing. And as for DiCaprio's role, I'm pretty sure he's the one that's going to play the actor.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to play Charles Manson. But
yeah, which I would have been very interested in.
I think he would have done a good job with that, but it does look like he's going to be playing the aging, failing actor.
So this movie would essentially be centered around his character. He would be the lead?
It depends, because like with movies like Pulp Fiction, they do change through, like it's different characters all the time.
But
so if it's an ensemble piece, it might not, but if it does focus on a character, it most likely would focus on him. Same thing with Inglourious Basterds, too.
Yeah, but as opposed to his role in Django Unchained as Candy, he wasn't... He was more supporting. Wasn't he nominated for supporting?
I believe he was.
Yeah,
yes.
So, this would be a movie centered around his character. Even if he does share the spotlight, he wouldn't be classified as supporting.
Yeah, he would probably be a lead.
Yeah, and just looking at other parts of this movie, I'm just very excited because... Tarantino doesn't tend to do movies set in reality. You know, while this is a made-up story of the aging actor, it's set in the time period of the Manson murders. Yeah, and so I just find that very fascinating.
They're very stuck in their time period.
Yeah, because with Tarantino, this would be his 9th film, yes?
Yep.
And so all his other movies, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say follow the same chord.
Kill Bill is kind of like modern day, kind of for the time. Inglourious Basterds is very World War II, obviously,
but like an alternate
time. I mean, Hateful Eight. That's like that's in America, up like in near California.
Yeah, Django Unchained is early 1900s. But it's just interesting to see also with his confirmed now, the Star Trek movie.
Oh yeah, the Star Trek movie.
You know, he's evolving while the time period changes, and while he could just stay the same and do his own stories. This is going to be his own story, but the idea of adapting some realism.
I don't think that, like he said he's going to do 10. I don't think Star Trek will be number 10.
I think he will do more than 10.
Yeah, he'll do more.
Just because I know you set out to say I'm only going to direct this many,
drop.
But at the same time, just he loves directing. Let's be real.
That's literally what he does.
And he's one of the only, he's like the last of his kind where he films on reel. He doesn't do digital.
No digital.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but his scripts are handwritten.
Yeah, he writes his own scripts.
Yeah, yes. Which is just unprecedented. And he's a real old school director, and probably
he has a big heart for those old movies.
The last
like
we'll
a lot
see.
Of interviews, like for him, like they ask, "What's your favorite actor?" He'll do some obscure actor from like the '60s that no one knows because that's just what he grew up with. Yeah, and that's what he takes like off for in his movies.
Yeah, and just seeing this casting, DiCaprio. I don't know if I'd call him my absolute favorite actor, but he's definitely up there.
Too, top 10.
I know it's the easy answer to say, but just all of his work. Wolf of Wall Street is my favorite movie of all time. I think his performance as Jordan Belfort was amazing. I think that's what he should have won the Oscar for, but that's a story for another time.
I would agree with that too.
Just all of his work. He's always puts his heart and his soul into his films. And while this will be his first one post-winning his Best Actor Oscar, so it will be interesting to see if he takes a back seat, but I heavily doubt that because, one, this is Tarantino. I don't know if I'd call him one of his favorite directors to work with because he's only worked with him once, but he was personally seeked out by Tarantino.
Like when people think directors, you think Spielberg, Kubrick, Scorsese, Tarantino.
Of course. And so that's why there's no way this would be a phoned-in performance because also he hasn't acted since 2015.
Yeah, so he's had some time.
He's had some time to lay off, chill on his yacht.
No one would
promote climate change and its problems.
There's no phoning in a performance in a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, especially for DiCaprio, an actor of his caliber who's been doing this for so long and just like I said, always puts his heart and soul into his roles. I'm heavily excited, not just for DiCaprio back on screen, but for his returning role in this Tarantino Manson murder flick. It will hit theaters on August 9th, 2019, and I'm sure we're going to have more stories about this. Maybe not in the coming weeks because it's still in its early stages, but coming months we'll hear more confirmations about casting, rumors about scripts,
some set picks,
maybe synopsis as early as probably actually not till the end of the year for a synopsis, but we shall see. Moving on to our next topic, we have Flashpoint news. Yay! It seems like the weekly DC EU, but this one seems to be positive on the surface. John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein are set to direct the standalone Flash movie. Heavily rumored to be Flashpoint. I know they did They confirmed it at one point, and now on the article I read about this on Variety, they now said that it was heavily rumored, so maybe they're flip-flopping because they can't lock down actors, whatever.
I mean, why not do Flashpoint? Why not rewrite the garbage they've put down on the plate and told us to eat?
It's just, it's tough. Just before we get into that, I just want to touch on their previous work. They wrote the script for Spider-Man Homecoming, and their most notable movie that they directed was Vacation. Not the National Lampoon Vacations, the one with Ed Helms.
That was a bad movie.
Terrible movie.
Yeah. Shit,
it's actually a scene where they're swimming in compost. I'm not even joking. Spider-Man Homecoming, obviously one of my favorite Marvel movies. Actually, I think it's the best Spider-Man movie made. That's just the script, though. Directing is another story entirely. And so I kind of joked about this when I first heard this. I was like, all right, I give it 3 weeks until they leave the project and Warner Brothers scraps the script, and then they say we're doing a page 1 rewrite, because the Flash movie, while we can make fun of the DCU all we want and all the problems, the Flash movie especially, the Flash movie has gone through at least 5 or 6 directors, and that's not an exaggeration. They've been attached and left since as early as the announcement of Batman v Superman. The script has been started, rewritten. At one point, it was Captain Cold was the villain. At one point, it was Reverse Flash. Now they're set on Flashpoint because
I would say that
they realize they want to reboot.
Yeah, the TV show probably is to blame for losing those villains to the movie universe. Would you say that? I mean, like Captain Cold and Reverse Flash. I've seen that story already. What's different?
And so, while I understand that perspective, I also just think they just kept changing because they didn't know what they want this movie to be.
Yeah,
and
true.
They treat every single movie as if it's like, well, this is our chance now to right everything that's wrong.
I mean, Wonder Woman was good.
Make a contained story.
Like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, if you make a good contained story,
they know that works.
It can help your universe. You don't have to set your universe in one movie.
Flashpoint will not be a contained story.
If they do Flashpoint, because they can't seem to lock down anyone.
Justice League, it was so bad.
Let's just talk about it. The more I think about it, it was
bad. It was a poorly made movie.
The word I describe Justice League as is lame. There's not much in it. Jason Momoa's Aquaman steals the show, but he's a big fish in a small pond. No pun intended. It's not a great movie.
We've talked about it, I think, plenty.
Yeah, and so the idea, I like that they understand where they can fix problems with Flashpoint and have it be wouldn't really be a soft reboot. They would redo the universe. But just if they can't lock down Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, even Ben Affleck, I know everyone thinks he's leaving, and I personally think he's leaving, but there was a rumor around a month ago where he said he's leaving, but his last movie will be Flashpoint or something. I don't know if that's even still canon in movie news.
Matter.
But
you don't even like Ezra Miller's Flash, right? You hate it.
He's terrible. A lot of people said he was like the best part of Justice League. I heavily disagree. I don't think, after seeing what Grant Gustin, at least in seasons 1 and 2, because I don't watch The Flash anymore. Not because
you were obsessed with that for a while.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing show. It was my favorite show on television. But not that I think it's bad, but just because they repeat the same stories on Flash, and so you can only deal with the same cut and paste of Barry's not fast enough to face the villain. He loses his speed. He gets it back. He wins. It's same cut and paste. Like, not saying it's bad, but you can only see it so many times.
Yeah.
Grant Gustin as Barry Allen in season 1 I thought was phenomenal, and after I'm inevitably going to compare him to Ezra Miller, and he couldn't even run fluidly. He couldn't. His running motion was he was slicing.
They just shoved all those characters in that movie, and like now we know, like, I don't know. I just don't understand why they didn't take a page from Marvel's book.
Yeah, just Ezra Miller. They looked at him. They're like, all right, you're gonna be our like Spider-Man. You're gonna be the comic relief, and he wasn't even funny. There's nothing worse than when you're trying to make a character funny and it doesn't hit with the audience. It just makes it so awkward.
I laughed at Cyborg, and he wasn't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, Cyborg wasn't. He was just a static plot device. And
booyah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Any final thoughts? Whenever the DCU comes up, I find myself in like a rambling tirade of just not even know what I'm talking about, because I genuinely do not get excited when news is released, because I don't trust anything until there is not even a release date. I need to hear filming has wrapped, and I don't even know if filming is wrapped, because then they do 87 reshoots.
Once a trailer comes out.
Once
the movie comes out, once it comes out, we can know it's real.
Oh my god. The DCEU has so much potential, and Flashpoint could have been a cool third part of a trilogy, a la Civil War for Captain America, and they just, I understand why to do this movie, because you want to reboot the universe, but the idea of, Barry's mom dying in the first 10 minutes, and then we never get to see him struggle with that, really. He just tells us that it's crushed him, and obviously it would crush him, but you don't see how badly he wants her back, knowing that he has the power to do so. It's not gonna have that amount of weight with the Flash TV series. 2 full seasons. 46 episodes of understanding how much pain and suffering he goes through every day.
And then you have just I'm gonna go for a hot take.
Go for it.
I think superhero movies have declined in quality, even though they've been getting fresh reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Absolutely.
I think the genre will die by at least 2030.
I don't think the genre will die because of box office
and merchandise and stuff. But I just think the quality of these films are not as good.
They have reached a point where they're cut and paste.
I like Thor Ragnarok, but I wouldn't classify it as a superhero movie. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's what I like. I like the idea of
they're trying to let's take these characters and put them in different genres.
The superhero genre is the tree, and we're gonna have
comedy,
a branch will be the comedy, and we'll see New Mutants horror movie.
Spider-Man's more for coming of
age,
but the
horror
last
with New
good
Mutants.
Superhero movie I've seen was Civil War.
Yeah,
I would call that a superhero movie.
I liked Spider-Man Homecoming, but
that was more of a coming of age. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok I liked was a comedy.
Yeah,
that's Marvel knows what they're doing with that. DC has not done that yet.
Yeah, I like that idea, but
superhero.
I do understand what you're saying, because when I say cut and paste, Marvel is just as guilty of this. Because
I would say that too.
The first film in a series, they take the characters opposite. And as much, don't get me wrong, I am so excited to see Black Panther.
Oh yeah,
I am
really
rolling in my bed, just pumped to see this movie, because all of the marketing has been fantastic. When I heard Kendrick Lamar was doing the soundtrack, I was ecstatic. But the one thing I've kept in the back of my mind was Killmonger. After seeing him in his suit, what is he? He's the reverse Black Panther. He's the Golden Jaguar, and I'm not even joking. That's the name of his character. The Golden Jaguar. So I'm not saying that's a problem. He could be fantastic, but as we saw,
I'm sure he will be.
The first Iron Man with Ironmonger.
We saw
that movie. Goody Two Shoes Captain America go up against Red Skull. We saw Hulk Abomination.
Yeah.
We saw just trying to think of more.
Thor,
Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket.
Thor Giant Robot.
Yeah.
Thor
Loki, and then Doctor Strange doesn't really work because Caecilius was kind of his own. Same, yeah, that's true. But Caecilius was kind of his
Guardians
own
of the Galaxy, meh.
Yeah, I don't really even know what the villains of Ronan or whatever. But the point is, Marvel does follow a cut and paste film outline.
They do it correctly. They do it because their characters are rich. They have good actors. Not that DCU doesn't have good actors. Margot Robbie is part of the DCU.
Right.
It's just that Marvel knows, hey, let's let our directors make this film.
Right.
And let them have their creative vision. That's why each Marvel film feels unique.
Right.
I would say James Gunn does a great job with Guardians.
I will say though, as much as you say that with letting them have their own vision, I don't know if I put a ton of stock in that because that's what Joss Whedon's complaint was. That's why he left. That's why he didn't do Avengers 3, because there was too much studio input with Age of Ultron. He didn't want to do those Thor flashback scenes. He wanted to make a contained movie. They wanted to do world building. And while I do understand that is one thing that Marvel...
You would have to agree with DCEU feels like the studio directed that, not directors.
That's
you can
very
see
fair.
James, especially for James Gunn's Guardians
movies.
But
also when there's resistance between the director and the studio, that's when the problem comes. the DCEU is obsessed with getting name recognition, while Marvel essentially, like, they grow their directors almost. Yeah. Peyton Reed, what has he done before Ant-Man? Well, Ryan Coogler was a different story, but like, I'm pretty sure they let him take the reins on that one because of what it was going to mean. The only thing I